Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shifting Gears. It's been a while, but it's good to be back. I'm your host, Joshua Clutch Gray. Joining me is the man from down under. You know him as Duckville. I actually forgot what his real name was a little while ago, so I wanted to look up a picture on Facebook. Like, what is your real name? And you're asking, why? Why do you need to know? Is it because I wanted to check out your gardening pictures, man.
I am, yeah. I was actually really surprised because, just speaking randomly about the garden, because I planted some zucchini seeds last week, and about a day ago, there was nothing there in the garden. Today, there's these shoots like this big. I'm like, these aren't beanstalks. I don't know what's going on with that. It's crazy.
Dang. Well, as the year-end show, we're going to talk about the best of 2013 in terms of all forms of digital media entertainment, because we're an entertainment variety show, but we like to focus mainly on gaming and esports. We're going to go through games, movies, television shows that really blew us away, maybe a couple songs that were in our heads throughout the whole year, favorite esport event. We'll also talk about some of the disappointments, and some people are going to ask, hey, why is this game not in your top 5, or why this, why that? It's like, well, frankly, we maybe have not played it yet. But this was a great year for me. I went to so many different countries this year for work, which was fantastic. I was in Asia for about a month, which was awesome. South Korea is the greatest country I've ever been to in my entire life. Not just because of the women, but that was a big part of it. And I really, really enjoyed myself. It was a great year. I accomplished all my goals this year of getting an agent out in LA and going to Korea. So now next year, I have to do more commercials and television shows and films. That's my goal for 2014. And I'm looking forward to it. So that's me in a nutshell. Duck, how was your 2013?
Yeah, pretty good. I got to cast DreamHack Summer, DreamHack Stockholm, and Valencia. So, like, obviously just community streams, but still.
Nice.
It was, really fun doing some of those in particular. We had some really good C events down here through some of the year. We had some really great performances from some C StarCraft players as well, which I was really happy about. Obviously, you know, originally when I started doing casting, I wasn't really focused on C at all. It was I tried to, you know, build a name with more Korean-based stuff, and then as I slowly moved back over here in a way, it's been really good to see a lot of the players grow. We had obviously a lot of the guys from NV have been competing in WCS and stuff like that. Pig as well. Patreus has obviously moved over to the Root House recently, which is just awesome to see. Mighty Kiwi is also over there. So it was really good to see that. Obviously on a personal scale, again, you know, just growing a lot more, in particular doing streaming a lot more. Like my stream isn't obviously fantastic due to internet issues here in this fine country, but I still have really appreciated. I've had a lot of people tuning in for various gaming stuff that I've been doing, whether it be casting or whether it be playing stuff. So that's been really cool, and I'm going to be focusing on that moving forward next year as well, as I will actually get an internet improvement finally. So.
Yeah, tell us what's going on with Australia and the internets.
I guess to cut it down to a sort of a smaller sort of story. Basically, the previous government that was in charge federally was going to be rolling out kind of like a Google Fiber kind of thing across the nation to 93% of Australians, right? And when we had the federal election in September, the other team won, and they decided that not doing that would be a good idea. So it's sort of everything basically got kind of depressed at that stage because it was not going to happen. So our digital future was in a little bit of trouble. But for me personally, unfortunately not for everyone else, but for me personally, my area here where I live in Melbourne is actually going to be getting fiber, just in this little area. I don't actually know why, but yeah, so I'm kind of happy about that because it will mean that I'll be able to stream in less pixelated quality moving forwards from probably October next year.
Sweet, man. Congratulations on that. I got to hang out with Moonglade in Korea. We were battle buddies, and it was a lot of fun, dude. That guy is awesome. We shared a lot of really good experiences, dude, in Korea. So it was really, really, really great. And we didn't know that we were going to be staying pretty much in the same place until we were in China, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm going to be in Korea as well. We're going to be staying in the same building." I was like, "Well, cool. That'll be great." So we went and got chicken and beer. Like we would stay up till like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning in Gangnam or other places, and then we'd wake up, play Hearthstone in the morning. So our internet was 100 down and 80 up, which was awesome. And then about 3 o'clock, we'd go find something to eat, and then start hanging out with all the boys in Korea. It was great, man. So big shout out to him. All right, so let's talk about games, Doc Phil. On chat, I want you guys to be interactive as well. I'm going to give away a Steam game today, and I also got a Hearthstone beta key. I also had some plushies. I can't find my my Tidehunter plushie that I had from the Dota 2 event that I did, but I also had a Zerg plushie. But I may give those out later, maybe around New Year's or something. I definitely got a lot of stuff to give away. So you guys want to tune into this stream when I'm able to stream. Hardly able to stream these days. First reason why is because WCS was going on the same time this show was. And I told Blizzard, hey, you know, Shifting Gears has been here longer than WCS, so could we change WCS? Yeah. And Blizzard went, no. So, and since Blizzard's
I thought it worked. They're cutting down the days of the WCS next year.
You know, it's a slow company, so that's why it has to take until next year.
Yeah.
Well, they're one of my clients, and so obviously I got to work around them. But happy about that. So, but I've been streaming just differently from a lot of these people that are keyboard cowboys streaming from their home. I've been streaming at a full-fledged studio for World of Tanks or StarCraft for most of my career this year. So people are like, Clutch, why don't you stream? It's like, oh, it's because I'm in charge of, or I'm part of giant productions that's going on in esports in America. That's maybe why, you know, MLGs or NESLs, higher level production stuff. A little bit busy there, guys. But I came to a point where I wanted to play games just on my own. I didn't want to stream it. I didn't want to have to entertain anyone. I wanted to be entertained. And, you know, I have a bunch of games that we're going to talk about today that I just want to play on my own. I don't want to have to play in front of an audience. And people may question that, but it's like if I watch a film and I'm also trying to perform while watching a film, I can't watch the film. I can't enjoy the film. I want to be entertained. You know what I'm talking about, Duckville? Or am I just am I crazy?
No, I have the same thing sometimes. Like sometimes when I'm because I've been playing a lot of Natural Selection too, and sometimes it's just like I don't want to have to try and talk to people while I'm playing or something like that. Not to say that the people are bad. It's just that you kind of get in a headspace where it's like I just want to play the game. I don't want to have to, you know, talk to people in chat, interact with people. It's just that's not today. That's tomorrow. That's that kind of. You know,
yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing to get into,
exactly.
So.
I know these guys make full-fledged livings out of it, man.
Yeah.
And good for them. They're really entertaining all the time. That's great. When I'm entertaining on a production space or a stage, not in my bedroom, which is where I am now. You know, this is my private place. Anyways, let's talk about games for the year, man. Top 5, more or less. We'll throw in some honorable mentions. I felt this year was a lot of me playing the same thing. A lot of playing StarCraft, a lot of playing Dota, a lot of playing League of Legends, and a couple shooters. And Trumpet's in the chat. What's up, Trumpet? So I think it was a lot of online multiplayer games is what I felt I played a lot of this year. Not a whole lot of MMOs. I did play some Terra. Did jump back into WoW for a little bit, but not too much. But I want to hear your list first, Duckville, starting with number 5.
I actually have, firstly, an honorable mention that I wanted to throw out there was Antichamber. I couldn't remember if that was actually this year or if it was last year, but I played through it this year earlier on. And firstly, it's made by a guy here in Melbourne. Secondly, it won a lot of awards for indie games, and what am I up to? Thirdly, whatever. It was just an amazing game, and like the only reason I couldn't fit it in my top 5 was just because I had other stuff there. But yeah, Antichamber was it was a lot of fun to play. I streamed most of my playthrough of Antichamber. I know a lot of people also did the same thing, but it was honestly the first game in a long time that I've played where I kind of felt like I was using this. I wasn't just playing through and like in some games you just kind of play through. It comes through. It goes through your brain a little bit and then comes out through your hands, and it's just kind of like, all right, cool. This is how this game works. That's that kind of thing. But with Antichamber, I actually, as a really true puzzle game that messed with your mind a lot, it was really good. So I was really impressed with that, and obviously the local thing was really cool too. But for my number 5, now I did ask you whether it has to be something that was made this year or risen to fame, or has purely just been something that I'd been playing this year. And number 5 is basically the last option there. It is actually Natural Selection 2. It has grown a lot over the past 12 months from what I understand, and I've been having a lot of fun with it over the last month or two. It was obviously on the Steam sale last, the last Steam sale, which was like 2 weeks ago, but apparently we have another one right now. And then it was also in the Humble Bundle. It's seen a lot of growth from what I can see. It's a really great first-person shooter and an RTS at the same time. Very tactical, very coordinated. You have to be really coordinated playing this game, but I think it's a really, really fun game. And if anyone, I can see a couple of people in the chat just sort of mentioning it, is definitely give it a go. A couple of small tips. I'm going to be doing a lot more Natural Selection 2 content moving into next year, but a couple of small tips for if you're just picking up the game. Listen to what other people are saying, especially the commander, and follow instructions. And don't argue with them, because they'll probably know better than you. And number 2, if you're playing Marines, buy a welder.
Yeah, you got to repair, man. You got to get those repairs out. And also learn how to shoot very quickly with a shotgun. Man, I played Natural Selection 2. I met the devs at E3 back in 2012. And they're really cool. And I streamed a little bit because I was just getting into it. The Marine side felt really underpowered, especially if the Horde side, the alien side, could rush really easily. And those freaking, what are those little dog things called? The little Zergling dogs?
The little ones that are like Zerglings are called skulks.
Yeah, those skogs. Those skogs, man.
Skulks.
Skulks.
S-K-U-L.
Oh, skulks. Yeah, the skulls. And what are the ones that run around really fast and can blink and turn in, like, almost invisible?
Those are called fades.
Yeah, the fades. And they have the scythe things like that. And then I'll be in a corner as a Marine, and they're going super fast turbo mode, like God mode's on for them, going through walls and stuff. And they just, I'm just going to die! And I finally kill one of them. And then they come back as the giant Oliphant things.
Yeah, the Urnos. Yeah, basically, if you haven't played it, like I said, go and play it. It's really fun. But it's kind of like a lot. There's a lot of similarities to StarCraft. There's on the Marine side, obviously they're Marines. You've got like you sort of run around as a first-person shooter. You get rifles and shotguns and welders and mines and grenades and all this kind of stuff. But you can also upgrade and get an exosuit, quite a lot like a mech warrior or perhaps a Goliath if you're StarCraft inclined. And then you can get jetpacks.
So we didn't have those suits when I was playing, man. We had jetpacks. That was it. We didn't have those suits. It was really tough.
I actually find, no joke, I actually find jetpacks a lot more annoying than exosuits, because exosuits you can deal with them as aliens in certain ways, but on the alien side you have the skulks, which are kind of like Zerglings. They can just jump around. They chomp. If you're watching the stream, you'll see the first person view is like the coolest thing, because you got like
the eyes are inside the mouth almost.
You see these teeth, like chomping down. It's really cool. And then an upgrade later on for the skulks is it's called Xenocide. Basically, you turn into a Baneling and you can explode on people and do a decent amount of damage. Then they've got Lurks, which are like basically Mutalisks. Then you've got, as you said, the Fades, which are kind of jumping around and they're really frustrating to deal with. And then one of the final evolutions for the aliens is the Onos, which is effectively an Ultralisk. So it was some fun similarities there for me when I first started playing a few months ago, because very similar to StarCraft in that regard. But yeah, it's definitely a really fun game. There's like, you know, there's natural selection leagues that go on across the globe. Like there's even an Australian league. I was like, what? Because normally like very sort of niche games aren't very well represented here, of course, because of the smaller gaming population.
And
but
tougher to get servers.
yeah, but there's finals for natural selection, the World Championships that will be going on in Cologne in Germany in February next year. So as I said, I'll be doing a lot more NS2 content moving forwards.
Cool, man. Congratulations on that. Ricky102 knows Steam code has not been given away. That will be at the end of the end of the show. I just gave away the Hearthstone beta key though. I know a lot of people got in after that last entry, but a couple people didn't, I guess. So there you go. I sent it Evil, and just check your Twitter message and make sure it works so we know it works. Okay, so natural selection 2. All right, man. What's next on your list?
I had the rise of survival games, just as a general sort of thing.
Okay.
For number 4, obviously including DayZ recently. Things like Rust recently has been growing as well. There's some other more quirky survival games like Sir, You Are Being Hunted, which is a bit of an indie game being made by Rock Paper Scissors. Oh, okay. Sorry, Rock Paper Shotgun.
Okay.
And what?
Sir, you're being hunted.
Yeah.
Well, do you have a butler with you the whole time or something? What?
No. But you run around and basically you're on these randomly generated islands and you have to collect like parts. It's basically like for a teleporter sort of thing to get off the islands and escape. But across the island are these robots. They're like they're kind of, I don't know how to sort of describe them. They're a little bit like some of the robots that have been in Futurama that look similar to Bender.
Okay.
But they all have British accents, and they all have these kind of quirky, very British things that they say when they're coming after you. They've got like those blunderbuss kind of shotgun things. But yeah, it's still, from what I understand, still in development just a bit. But it's a little bit quirky. But then you've got, you know, other survival games that have been coming out. There's been some very good, such as obviously DayZ, and then they're very bad, such as The War Z, or now as it's known, Infestation Survival Stories, which, my God, what a terrible game it was. There's also some really cool.
Sorry. Was that the MMO that came out?
And it was basically the DayZ clone.
Okay.
That came out.
Okay.
It was made by the dude who made those other horrible games. But then there's also, some other good ones that are coming up, including The Island, I think it's called. Wait, sorry, The Forest. It's basically a mix of Minecraft and I guess like a survival horror in a way. And it's going to have Oculus Rift and stuff like that. So
Whoa.
yeah, I think there's been some really good survival games that have come out this year.
Yeah, I've never played Amnesia, Dark Descent, or Machine for Pigs. I watched A9 play that a little bit. The survival horror games that I liked to play back in the day was Dead Space. And Dead Space 1 was really good. Dead Space 2 is even better. Dead Space 3 wasn't that good, man. The co-op was really cool, but it became more of an action shooter than a survival horror game, which kind of sucked. So yeah, there was a rise of that. So what do you have next on your list? This is what,
Heart of the Swarm.
Number 3. Heart of the Swarm. Okay, cool. I didn't see that in a lot of top 10 lists or even 5 lists for a lot of game journalist stuff. They just
I think a lot of the time with that kind of stuff they might not apply it as a new game per se. I mean, obviously you had a new campaign. I think the campaign for Heart of the Swarm was so much better than it was for Wings of Liberty. There was some new interesting stuff that they threw in. Then of course you got the multiplayer changes that have come about. I'm sure everyone loved the Hellbats when they first were introduced, and the ridiculous oracles with their mineral block and stuff like that. That was so funny casting that stuff, I tell you what. But yeah, I mean it's good. StarCraft, I still have some small concerns about StarCraft, and I'm really hoping that next year's WCS season will certainly help out the esports portion of it. But I think it's been a lot of fun. It's still a very, I suppose, I suppose like a very strategic kind of game in a way, regardless of your skill level. Like, I mean, you can be a bronze player and obviously still learning lots of stuff. You could be a masters player and still learning lots of stuff about the game. So there's certainly a lot going on in StarCraft, regardless of, you know, if you think dead game or stuff like that. So
all right, StarCraft's your number 3. What's your number 2?
CS:GO was really
wow. I played some of that last night. Actually, so much has changed since I last played it. So much has changed.
Valve. I am not a CS player. I'm actually terrible at CS, whether it be old CS or new CS. I've always been terrible, actually, in general, with first-person shooters. But and actually, as Deeb3VA has just actually said, there have been a lot of good games this year, which is why we haven't seen which is probably why we haven't seen StarCraft in top 10s too much. But it's a very good point. Yeah, CS:GO's been awesome. Really impressed with the spectator system. Like, it's still being developed, I think, but the spectator system is really cool. Throwing in skins and all that kind of stuff has been really interesting. It adds a little bit of, you know, a little bit of cosmetic fun sometimes. And yeah, I mean, there's still a little bit of way to go with some of the development stuff, but I think it's been really good, and it has risen up a lot. Especially DreamHack Winter was insane for CS:GO. There was so many numbers. Sir Scoots did an awesome job on that panel with the rest of the guys, and they sort of explained a lot for someone like me who's not very good at the game, but also did great commentary. God, what was his name? Consider It Done. One of the casters.
Yep.
Oh my god, he has
Corey Dunn
voice.
I've worked with him a lot.
Voice. And yeah, number 1, drum roll. Dota 2.
Oh, yeah, I saw that comment. It says it was officially released, so we can count it.
Yep, yeah. It was. From someone who played Dota 1 for a long time. Since, probably for anyone who remembers, since Slardar was introduced back in Dota 1, it has come so far. There have been some great things that they've added in. I love that they've finally added in the coaching system. The spectator system, whether it be in-game or through Twitch, is just beautiful. The competitive scene is always growing and is always changing as well. That's the one thing that I really, really love about Dota 2, is that the metagame, if you were to call it that, is constantly changing. Like, whether it be from players finding little crazy funky strategies and things like that, or whether it be through balance changes, everything is always constantly changing. The new heroes change things, and for someone like I've started doing Dota 2 casting this year. For me, it's never really fully predictable what's going to happen. Some of the times, like, say for instance, like you would know this from doing some SC2 casting as well. When you go into some SC2 games, they can be very formulaic. You can sort of predict what's going on very easy. Like, you know, ZVT, there's going to be Lings, there's going to be Banes, there's going to be Mutas, and rarely do you get like some crazy sorts of shifts or anything like that. But in Dota 2, every game is different. Every game is different, and items can be different, heroes can be different, play styles of heroes can be different, and it's just been really cool to see Dota obviously be officially released, and the rise of Dota as well.
Yeah, it was very cool to see that. It was cool for me to host my first Dota 2 event for MLG. That was a lot of fun, and it was one of the best events ever because of the storyline. It truly was incredible, and I expect to do more Dota stuff, guys, so hopefully I will. I love hosting, and I'll do more. So that was a treat for me as well, man. When MLG approached me, they asked if I could do the one in Orlando as well. Unfortunately, I was way too busy that weekend. Well, fortunately, I was busy because I have a job. I was doing World of Tanks and WCS that weekend, so I couldn't do all three. It'd be physically impossible for me to do that. But it's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun to see Dota rise and to see MLG take over the league format of making it just American teams, and then they have these invitationals, which I think is very, very important, and is, from what we've learned of WCS, you know, region locks are a good thing. It's what people want. It's how you grow storylines. But we won't go into that because we already know how I feel about that and how you feel about that. All right, I'm going to go into my list now. I'm going to go into my list. Okay, my honorable mention first is going to be Hearthstone. Now, I mentioned Hearthstone in an honorable mention because it's not officially out yet, so I'm not going to count. I know some people like Total Biscuit put it in their list, but guess what, guys? Game's not officially out. If people do not have access to the game, it's not officially out, and therefore cannot be in a top 10 or top 5 or top whatever, but I will give it an honorable mention because it's a lot of fun to play, and I won $150 in a tournament for it. Go me. I am a pro Hearthstone player. I'm a professional player for Hearthstone, so that's good. All right, so number 5, actually. Number 5 is going to be Injustice, which I hadn't seen anyone put on any of their lists, but I really enjoyed this game. I thought it had a really solid story. In the world of DC Comics, it's tough to be original because these heroes have gone through so much stuff, but I liked what they did with it. I liked the dialogue, the characters, and I liked the fighting styles of the different characters and the heroes of DC Comics. I thought it was a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed Injustice. I really didn't play that much online of it. I didn't try to unlock everything just because of time. I don't have time to go through everything. But when I played it, I did not want to stop playing it because I really enjoyed it. So Injustice is my number 5. My number 4 is going to be Tomb Raider. Now, Tomb Raider was a lot of fun to play. I was actually really surprised by how much fun I had with Tomb Raider and how well the system worked to go into cover. I didn't have to press a button to go to a chest-high wall and go into cover. She automatically would go into cover when she was getting shot at, and then shooting around corners using the bow and arrow, the streamlined upgrades that you would have in the game. It didn't feel like anything was a chore. It was linear enough to enjoy the ride, but kind of open enough that I could go back and hunt things if I needed to. I actually liked it a little more than Far Cry 3, which was released last year, I believe, because it had more of a linear path. Some games, when they're a sandbox game, they're too open and they're too repetitive. When a game gives you too many options, it's like, hey, look at all this content you can do. It's like, well, this content's not entertainment. There's a difference, and I want to be entertained. So I thought Tomb Raider did a really good job. And I preferred that type of storyline, and it was good. And the girl that played Tomb Raider did a really good job. She really had the sensibility as an actress of being a vulnerable girl, but a very strong girl that was learning, how to survive out there. I mean, she knew how to survive because she had been trained, but hadn't really gone through it. So it was really, really good. So that's my number 4. My number 3 is going to be Heart of the Swarm, because I'm a huge fanboy of the StarCraft lore, even though sometimes it's delivered on a platter of crap, dialogue-wise. And I even told the head writer of Blizzard, I'm writing a script right now, he's working on a project, we will trade projects, and I will prove to him that I can write dialogue better than the entire Blizzard staff. I wrote at the WCS Season 2 Finals that intro for both James Harper and Robert Clotworthy, Arcturus Minsk, and Jim Raynor. I wrote that intro for them just on the spot right there. And somebody from Blizzard went, wow, that was really good. You should be a writer. And I looked him dead in the face and I said, I am. And when I almost said, you should let me write for your company, I can fix all your dialogue issues. Diablo 3 would have been better. So I am writing a script right now, a film. I'm not sure if I want to make it a short film or a full-length feature, but I'm still working on it. The whole outline is done, so now it's just writing the dialogue for the individual scenes. And I'm really excited about that because it's proof on paper that I am a writer. And anyways, those intros and Robert Clotworthy and James Harper, they are so much fun. Those guys are awesome, and a huge thank you to them for participating in the WCS. So all that was the package of Heart of the Swarm, and also some of the dialogue that Jim said to Sarah, like, tell that to Phoenix. We all were waiting for that. And I teared up. I teared up a little bit when she floated away because Jim knows he's going to have to kill her. Like, he knows. Yeah. That's what's going to happen in the end. She wants it to end after Amon is destroyed. And by the way, when what's his name? The Russian guy, Alexei Stukov, when he was alive and he showed his face, dude, I flipped out. I yelled at the top of my lungs, "It's Stukov! Oh my gosh!" I was so excited. So a lot of those moments for me, because I've been so invested with the lore of that game, had the biggest payoff for me. I wow, it was awesome. And it was also night to about 3 o'clock in the morning signing people's copies in the cold. I also had a lady friend waiting for me, and she waited the whole time. So I felt kind of bad for her. She was in a dress, and it was about 30, 40 degrees, but she waited. So it was a great experience all around. That was back in March. Crazy. It was a while ago. All right. So that was number 3. Number 2 is going to be The Last of Us. And the reason it's not number 1 is for a couple things. One, the ending. And I'm not talking about what actually happens storyline in the ending. I think that's a very intricate and wow, in your face, happy endings kind of thing. But it's how they paced the story was terrible. You play Joel, you go through all the cinematic sequences, and then you play as Ellie for 15 seconds. You control Ellie for 15 seconds, and you walk up to a cliff, and you climb the cliff, and then they have that conversation where she can tell she's lying, and that's the end. It was like, what? You don't just take control of Ellie for 15 seconds thinking, oh, wow, now I can control Ellie for a while, I wonder what's going to happen, and then just end it. It was really weird. Really weird. Whoever approved that was either high or drunk. It was really bad. And when you add the theme to it of, whoa, this is way different than I thought it was going to be, and you add that type of pacing that's terrible, it's a big just nuclear bomb of disaster of what happened at the end there. So, and I was so pissed that somebody that could have had this intricate story that put you through so many emotional, oh my gosh, type of moments where your mouth opens up and you don't move for a minute, a whole minute. I didn't move after the autumn thing where the younger brother found out you got bit, you know. I'm throwing away spoilers, guys. If you haven't played these games, too late. I mean, we're talking about what's going on. Duckville, I don't even know if you're going to play this, so...
I haven't played it yet, but it's okay. Okay,
I'm not giving away too much, but when that happened, and what happens next, I didn't touch the remote control for a minute because that was very, very intense. So those moments that they were able to craft into that experience of The Last of Us was great. The gameplay was pretty good. I think Uncharted is good. It's a good series. The second one is really, really good because of the characters. The gameplay, the gun gameplay, it's not that good. Naughty Dog does not have a very solid system and engine for their gameplay. Their approach to the gameplay of what you can do in the game is great, and the dialogue is fantastic, but the gameplay itself is clunky. So Uncharted, to me, the series, is a lot of fun. Definitely play it, but it's overrated. Gears of War had better gameplay and a really hyped story, but I feel that when it comes to the exclusives of the PS3 versus the Xbox 360, Gears of War trilogy beats out Uncharted. That's my opinion. And the multiplayer is way better for Gears of War. You didn't have Uncharted esports. You didn't have that at all. You had Gears of War esports, which I commentated one of those tournaments back in the day. So, anyways. So Last of Us, definitely played through it. If you're a fan of Walking Dead and other zombie-type games, you will appreciate the survivability of it. But honestly, it came down to Joel and Ellie and the psychosis of being a survivor and what you survived for, I felt was a great journey with a bad ending. And this is going to go into the number 1 game for me, even though I'm really hesitant to call it number 1, because it beats out a little bit the rest of them, but it still is a flawed game, and that's BioShock Infinite. And what I mean by flawed, again, is the ending. I have talked about the importance of endings so many times on this show. The ending is the most important part of any story because that's the last emotional moment your audience is going to have. And if it's a crappy one, then they're going to equate their entire experience to crap. We talked about this last year with Mass Effect 3. With BioShock Infinite, it's not a crap ending. It's a very, very opened door ending. And that's unfortunate unless they're able to wrap it up in a DLC. When you create a universe of infinite possibilities, then nothing matters. And when nothing matters, your journey doesn't matter. So when they were going through that door, when they opened that door of infinite possibilities and they see all those lighthouses, I was really excited. When I saw Rapture, I was incredibly excited because I was thinking, okay, how is this all going to link together? How are they going to close the door? How is Kevin Levine and the rest of his writing team going to try to accomplish something that other people, that other writers don't dare to touch? Because when you open that infinite world, that's kind of where DC Comics is right now. They have the infinite crisis of infinite different worlds. How do you close that door? Because if there's infinite possibilities, it takes away the stakes. It takes away the stakes of things mattering. It takes away the stakes of, are they going to live happily ever after in the end, kind of thing. What's going to happen to them? And unfortunately, they weren't able to close the door. Unless the closing of the door was the death of Booker during that baptism. And if that was the closing of the door, we needed to see something to solidify that. And maybe that's what Burial at Sea is. I haven't played it yet. I want to, because when it comes to atmosphere, story, character creation, character development, character drive, character animation, BioShock Infinite did a fantastic job. I feel that the game is a little bit repressed by being a shooter. I think it could be so much more by being an RPG. I mean, there are RPG elements to it, yeah, but by making it more of a Mass Effect type play than a first-person shooter, I wonder if more could be brought out of the atmosphere in the world of BioShock. And also, a thing that was kind of funny is everyone's all peaceful and friendly and helpful. And then when you fight for the first time, everybody's got guns and ready to kill you, kind of thing. You know, it's just like they turned a very utopian society into a very violent one very quickly, which I felt that if they had a little bit more of a push and pull of the world of the city, like the city wasn't really alive after you were found out to be, you know, the bad guy or whatever. It just became completely dead and everybody's trying to kill you. I would have loved to have seen, you know, different parts of the city didn't believe that, or some sort of conflict within. The only conflict was sort of the racial conflicts of the early 1900s, which was not overdone, thank goodness, with the Irish and the African Americans and everyone. Because sometimes it just gets like, it's like, let's make white people feel guilty. That's just, it's been done so many times. And Elizabeth was so well done, and I loved what made me want to play this game was Adam Sessler's review. And when I started to play the game, and you go into the baptismal area with all the candles, I had tears in my eyes because they were hymning that hymn in the background. It was a beautiful scenery, and you could tell, you know, these people were trying to equate their lives to something better than what the earth offered. And I felt that to be a very emotional human experience of, you know, trying to elevate themselves, kind of like the city of Enoch. And I thought that was cool. But then it just kind of got weird after that with the time travel and the time warps and everything else. Which is kind of like Looper. It was really cool at the beginning, and then it got weird, and it just didn't really add up in the end. So those are my 5. Those are my 5 games of the year. Is BioShock Infinite the best game I've ever played? No, it is not, and that's why I'm hesitant to make it number 1. But for this year, there's a lot of like B+, A- titles, man. There wasn't really any A+ titles in my book. There wasn't any RPGs that came out this year. And I
think that it's kind of weird because like you mentioned that, and I have the same feeling. And whereas with television shows, my number 1, I can say this was the greatest show that I have seen this year, and it was amazing. It gave me so much emotion, so much else, all sorts of things. But with the games, like obviously I really love Dota 2, but apart from that, like obviously with the list that you've gone with, yeah, there's no real this is the greatest thing ever,
yeah,
kind of thing.
And I haven't, and we're gonna mention that we're gonna take a break, guys. But when we come back, we're gonna talk about movies, but then we're gonna talk about games that we haven't mentioned because I haven't had a chance to play them, and I have a list of games that I want to play for this generation before I pick up the next consoles. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We come back. Shifting Gears continues. The best of 2013. I'm Clutch. He's Duckfield. Don't go anywhere. Everyone, welcome back to Shifting Gears. Just got done detailing our favorite games of 2013 that we've played. Now we're going to talk about movies. Duckville, do you even watch movies?
Not often.
Not often. All right, so just go ahead and throw out. I know you watch some Asian films, which I need to watch more of. I watched Man of Tai Chi, directed by Keanu Reeves. I liked it. It wasn't a perfect movie, but I liked it. So go ahead and name off some of your favorite films this year, 2013.
I was able to find a couple of normal, I suppose, Western films that I did watch.
Hollywood films.
Actually, ironically, I do have a couple. So, number 5 went underrated, I thought, but I still thought it was really interesting, despite some issues. It was Oblivion. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm kind of biased because my other girlfriend, Olga Kurilenko, is in it, and my God, that girl is gorgeous. But
she can be my wife anytime.
Oh yeah. But I thought I don't know. It was a kind of a deep movie in a way, without being. I don't know how to describe
preachy,
it. Like,
without being preachy.
Without being preachy, without being too thought-provoking, like it sort of made you think. It made you think a little bit, but it didn't. It wasn't like you sit there afterwards and write a 5,000-word essay about philosophy.
It made you feel. It made you feel.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It sort of made you feel, and it was kind of like, all right, okay, interesting. So yeah, I did like that. Number 4, Wolf of Wall Street.
That's not even out yet over here. Comes out on Christmas for us.
No, I know.
Oh.
I'm saying though, like this is one.
It's gonna be okay.
It will be because
actually, what has happened, guys? Duckville and I invented time travel. We know who's gonna win WCS 2014. We already placed our bets. So the next prize we're gonna give away for the best of 2014 is probably a Ferrari. So stay tuned for that.
That's right.
Not true.
No,
Don't quote me on that.
From what I've heard and from what that's based on, it should be freaking good. And I'm really.
It's got Matthew McConaughey in it, right? Yes, I'm
so,
pretty sure.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
And DiCaprio being a boss.
The older my brother gets, the more he looks like Matthew McConaughey. He's doing really well for himself, man. He's doing really well for himself. Shout out to my brother Luke.
Number 3, Gravity.
Good choice.
I had suspected you might put that on your list, but I throw it out there anyway. Yeah, I finally got around to watching it, and it was pretty good. Pretty good.
I love George Clooney's character in that. I love it.
Sorry, I'm just sort of rushing through them because I know you'll have some more.
No, it's good,
interesting
man.
comments about the movies. So, number 2, as the what's that YouTube thing? The Honest Movie Trailers thing. Have you seen those guys in the movie trailers?
Yeah.
These guys called it the the awesomely dumb movie, Pacific Rim.
Okay.
I thought it was fun. I mean, robots and giant aliens. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Oh, were you mad that the father is an American actor? That played the Australian. Why couldn't they get an Australian actor? It's just like the main guy is from England, and he's freaking over enunciating everything he says to sound like he has an American accent. Like, why did they just hire an American actor? Go ahead.
Yeah, he's because obviously he's in Sons of Anarchy as well, and as you get later in the seasons of Sons of Anarchy and in Pacific Rim, you can really tell that Mr. Hunnam has a little bit of trouble sometimes when he gets tired with keeping an accent on, because you can hear the British start to come out. It's like, what? But yeah, no, that bit with the Australians, I was like, is this serious? Is this like perception that our accent is that terrible still going on?
It's my son there. It's my son.
God, he does the worst accent. I was like,
it's my son.
I'll do it.
It's my son. It's my son there. I don't know if you know, but that's my son.
You have to say something about your son like 5 times, and then that's about it. That was his whole role. I could have done that.
My son's an asshole. Yeah. It's my son. Jeez, I sound more freaking Texan than Australian. See how close it is? Crazy.
Yeah. Well, I guess so.
Yeah, that actor was in The Unit. He played a really good role. And then I was in a play called Death of a Salesman at the Virginia Stage Company, the only regional theater in the state of Virginia, back when I was in college. And one of the actors I worked with is actually in Captain Phillips, and he played one of the Navy SEALs, because he was a Navy SEAL, and he's in that movie with that actor, the redheaded guy. I forget his name, but he's doing an okay job for himself. Just, the accents are tough, man. They are. They are.
Yeah.
It's tough to say in an accent.
There's a couple that I can't do.
The girl is the best. The girl, and Idris Elba's good in everything he does, but the girl, I really liked her.
And, you know...
I really liked her. I really liked her. I really liked her chest. That's what I really liked. Sorry, keep going.
The speech. The apocalypse is cancelled.
We're canceling the apocalypse.
Well done. That's just, I couldn't think of anything more terrible, but well done. Awesomely done movie, very true. Speaking of which, go and watch the Pacific Rim Honest trailer on, just search YouTube for Honest Trailers Pacific Rim and watch it. It's freaking hilarious. But, yeah, and number one, Django Unchained.
Oh, man.
I'm not a huge Tarantino person, but I still thought that was pretty cool.
Wow.
I thought it was pretty cool and obviously provocative.
Was that this year? Was that 2013?
I believe so, yeah. It was very early in the year. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my list.
Cool, man. Right on. No, what about Asian film? I need to watch some Korean films. I need to.
I haven't watched pretty much, like, I've maybe watched 10 movies this year, and... Yeah.
The only Korean film I've watched is Olympus Has Fallen. Nobody gets that joke unless they saw the film. Nobody gets that joke unless they saw a film. America!
I have not seen any...
All right, North Koreans destroy the White House and almost kill the president. That's what happens.
Oh, that's right. We were talking about that, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, good for yours.
All right, man. So I made a long list here of honorable mentions, and I'm gonna go through the list, but I'm gonna give you guys my number one. Okay. So first off, Top Gun 3D. Okay, I know it came out in the '80s, but they brought it back because of America and because of IMAX. And I went and took a lady friend to go see it. And it was really freaking cool to see it in IMAX, man. It was great. Some of my favorite lines, like, son, your ego's writing checks your body can't cash. And when you see that in IMAX by the guy that plays Mr. Strickland from Back to the Future, you have to put it in your top whatever for the year. Sorry, guys, but I had to. Okay. Gravity was really, really good. Really cool. George Clooney's what made it amazing. Sandra Bullock, I think, did a good job, but her character development was a little... Even though she goes through an amazing journey, it just was just a little bit flat. But when George Clooney shows up, that's what sparks it. So it was good. Iron Man 3, the Iron Man series, I've never been too impressed with, except for Robert Downey Jr., of course, being probably one of the best. He is the best Tony Stark choice I ever could have made. Iron Man 3, I liked it because it was almost a caricaturation of the superhero action films, especially with how the bad guys are portrayed. I thought the bad guys were funny. Not in a Despicable Me type of funny, but in a more realistic, like the guy's like, I don't even know these guys. It's kind of weird here when he gives up. I thought was awesome. Star Trek Into Darkness, whatever the hell it was called. I thought Benedict Cumberbatch had he had God mode on, 360 no scope with all those guns. I thought was a cool action scene, but it had too much cutting. There's too much cutting in action scenes. Damn it! Stop thinking that all these fast jump cunts, not cunts, these fast jump cuts are more action intensive. They're not. They're less so. Case in point, The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug during the barrel scene. That's all one shot with Bomber, and it was amazing. Amazing. One of the best wow, I'm losing my words here. One of the best cinema-esque, action-oriented scene that I've seen in a long, long time. Since like Skyrim, the fight scene in the building. Not Skyrim. Skyfall. Skyrim was not that good of a game, guys. Deal with it. All right, Prisoners was good when it was called Gone Baby Gone, but still the acting was good. Two Guns was a lot of fun. I watched that on the airplane. I think I watched more films this year on Korean Air, going to China and then to Korea and then from Korea to home, than I have in movie theaters. But that's okay. Two Guns was a lot of fun. Pacific Rim, man, that movie, it was a lot of fun to watch. They knew the type of movie they were making, and it was cool. Another thing that The Hobbit did really well was the dragon. Smaug did a really good job. What The Hobbit didn't do well is everything else was a soap opera. It was a soap opera, and it was so overacted. Legolas was great, by the way. Orlando Bloom was better. He looked great. He acted great. He was like kind of a more immature Legolas, so I thought he did a great job there, and Peter Jackson did a great job directing him. Gandalf was great, but the chick elf and her overacting, man.
Whoa. Are you hating on Evangeline Lilly?
She was hot, but she was so over the top. But what I liked about the dwarf that she was into is he was not. He was very simple and honest in his acting. And I know the elves are like, ooh, fluent and whatever, really metro. I can't even think of a word to describe them. They're really arrogant, especially the father, the elves, the metro elves. But not the dwarves, no. But I felt that they were just a little bit too posh, and she was too posh in her speaking. And Liv Tyler, I mean, she's all right actress, but with Arwen, sometimes she looked really good, other times she looked okay, but she knew her place, but she was there in the moment with Aragorn in those scenes. With Evangeline Lilly, she's like, I'm an elf. Look at me, I'm an elf. This is what it seemed like a lot of her acting was. I'm an elf and I talk like this, and I can't fall in love with dwarves, and Legolas can't love me because I'm a lowly elf. But I'm an elf. Look at me, I'm an elf. That's what it felt like when I was watching her, man. So, anyways, that's just me as an actor. There's things that I noticed that I wish I didn't, that I wish I could enjoy the story, but that's okay. All right, so that's The Hobbit, Prisoners, Two Guns. Pacific Rim was a lot of fun. I thought the directing was great. I didn't understand the concept of the fighters. If they could all shoot missiles, why do they just make a bunch of missile systems and just shoot missiles all the time? Why do they have to punch them in the face? Why do they need close quarter combat if they had missiles that work?
Because then it's not awesome. Come on, man.
I know. When I was watching, it's like, you have missiles in your chest. Why don't you just fire the missiles first? Oh, you have a sword you just thought about? What is this, Power Rangers? Well, you're all the different Triceratops and Pterodactyl and everything, and then you realize, hey guys, we can't win unless we combine. That's the end of every episode of Power Rangers, guys. Guess what? Spoiler. For over 20 years, that's how they've been doing it. Lesson learned. Bring out the big guns, or else your brother's gonna get snatched up, and you're gonna have a huge crisis issue, but you're gonna fall in love with a beautiful Japanese chick, even though you don't kiss at the end. Why not, buddy? You just went through hell.
Time in movie history that has ever happened.
Nah, it's happened before. It happened in iRobot, but it wasn't a romantic relationship between them, which was good. But come on, man. I would have kissed her before I got in that thing. Anyways, the sequence when you go back in time in her mind, I thought was beautiful. I thought that was the best sequence of Pacific Rim. It was really, really good. Really good.
I liked the bit where they picked up the boat and used it to hit stuff.
Yeah, it only happened for 15 seconds though. Then it flew off. Then it flew off into the buildings. What do you think did more damage? Superman and Zod in Man of Steel, or the Pacific Rim fighting?
I'm pretty sure more people died in that Superman movie than
I think more people died in Man of Steel than in Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Pretty
sure of that.
More people died in Man of Steel than they did in the movie 2012.
He's gonna save the world, save America, but kill everybody.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, that's what's gonna make a great story for Lex Luthor. How can we let this god from another planet be our savior? Look at what he did to Metropolis.
He screwed it all up.
He destroyed it. That's why I'm gonna hire Batman to take him down. You gonna hire Ben Affleck? Wait, Ben Affleck's our only acting choice? Yeah. We're doomed. That's the what makes a good superhero movie is the bad guy. And let's jump into Man of Steel. I did like this movie a lot because I loved Smallville. And Superman is my favorite hero of all time for many reasons. And the way they portrayed Jonathan Kent was a freaking travesty of Man of Steel. He was a pussy. He was a pansy. He was, ooh, just hide, you gotta hide. And if people die because you gotta hide your powers, you know, people, shut up, dude. Not cool changing him. Jonathan Kent was awesome in the comics. He taught Clark how to use your powers for good, when to use them. His mom tried to do the same thing. So all these amazing experiences that Clark has in Smallville, a show that lasted longer than most shows ever, for 10 years, by the way, and had the best ending to a show ever. I will submit and challenge anyone who disagrees. You can say what you want about best show ever, but the best ending to a show ever, with music that stirs your emotions, that makes Superman what he is. Anyways, that betrayal was disastrous. And the moment when the dad's like, no, stay there, don't reveal your power, I'll go get the dog and die in a horrible tornado accident, so you'll live with that guilt for the rest of your life, compared to, son, you're going to have to use your powers, go, and we'll deal with it later. I would rather the son use his powers and people like just saw crazy stuff and don't believe him under an overpass because they're all traumatized, rather than Clark having to live with the regret of he could have saved his father at any time and his father told him not to. That theme will not hold up anywhere. Nowhere. Not no way, not no how. So that was the biggest flaw of Man of Steel. The greatest thing in Man of Steel, and I'm going to spoil it. If you haven't seen it, that's your problem, all right? I'm getting on a tangent. The best point of Man of Steel was when Superman had to make that choice of killing Zod. And when you saw that dad try to protect his family and Zod's, laser eyes are coming out, Superman just broke his neck. Whew. That was the place that writers were always afraid to go to. And there's a really good film called Superman vs. the Elite, which is amazing because it shows what happens if Superman does kill people. And it's really, really good. And it puts Superman in the type of light and the type of persona that he is, that he has to deal with all the time. And he quotes it really well at the end of the Justice League animated series when he's fighting Darkseid. And he goes, Darkseid, my entire life, everything around me has been made of cardboard. And I've always been scared that it was going to hurt someone or something, so I always had to be careful of that. Whenever he fights, like, Superman has to control himself more than controlling his enemy when he fights. When he's fighting Darkseid and he says, but you can take it, can't you, big guy? Now it's time to show my full power. And he punches Darkseid so hard, he goes through multiple buildings throughout all Metropolis, and then Superman flies over and crushes him into the ground. It's awesome. It's awesome to see how much he has to hold back, but when he lets go, he can take those prisoners like Darkseid to the end of the universe where all the other... How did he quote it? No, he takes them to the edge of the universe. This is his prison. And he goes, where all the other mistakes of the universe belong. And he throws them in there. I was like, oh, snap, man. Wow, don't piss off Superman. So, Man of Steel got to that point that I was really cool to see. Even though in Superman 2, they totally die as well. I mean, just he kicks them off a cliff and whatnot, or they fall off. So, I mean, they die as well. But this was that moral judgment of saving people. You have to kill the bad guy. And that was the best thing about the Walking Dead season finale with Carl. We'll get into that in television shows in a bit, but that's going to be the biggest thing here. All right, so Man of Steel. Great Gatsby on my list because of the cinematography. Such a sad story. The beginning was very affluent and flying around and hip-hop music in the 1920s just didn't really make sense, but it wasn't supposed to. When you meet Gatsby, and then Gatsby meets Daisy, all that slows down and stops. That should be like the world becomes real. I felt that was a really good scene. A good movie, just very sad at the end. But well done. For a Baz Luhrmann film, I always enjoy I pretty much enjoyed Moulin Rouge, very much so. And he was the man that made that. I already mentioned Star Trek, Man of Steel. All right, guys, so here are my top two. At number 2, The Wolverine. The Wolverine. Did you ever see that, Duckville? No.
I'm not into superheroes.
I know.
That's why I've got nothing. So.
I really like this film. I saw it in theaters, and then I watched it on the plane once again. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
just for a second.
Yeah.
I've just got to AFK for like 2 seconds. I'll be back in a minute.
All right, I'll keep talking to people that are listening to me. All 5 of them. All right. So I really like the Wolverine because this was a story about Logan letting go of Jean and also sleeping with a really hot Japanese chick, which was cool. All right. But I really liked the story. I liked that whole concept of immortality, which was explored in that. And I really liked where they went with it. I didn't like Viper. I thought she was dumb. I felt that the clans were fleshed out well enough to see the push and the pull of the Black Clan and the head CEO guy and what he wanted. But in the end, when Logan says goodbye to Jean in his dream, you know, and recognizes that it wasn't his fault, he had to kill her because she was hurting people, I thought it was really good. Very, very powerful. And for that actress, Femmik Jensen, and for that actor, Hugh Jackman, which, by the way, in Korea, some people thought I was Hugh Jackman, which was awesome. I had a full beard there. Then I shaved it because some of the girls didn't like beards there, so I shaved it. And then they were like, Hugh Jackman. It was great. Because I was with Moonglade, and Moonglade had an Australian accent. And I would tell people that he was Brad Pitt, and then he would tell people I was Hugh Jackman. So it was awesome. I love Korea. Best nation in the world. That story arc of Logan and Jean and him saying goodbye was great. And that's what the film accomplished. It accomplished it very well, and it brought Logan back into the real world. I would have stayed in Japan for a little bit longer, but it's okay. He had to go. He was a soldier, he said. And now at the very end at the airport, that was neat. That was neat. So I wonder where we're going to go with it. I haven't watched X-Men First Class. I need to. People say it's pretty good. But the X-Men trilogy is not that great. It really isn't, guys. It could have been so much more. The first Wolverine Origins movie was not that good. The comic book's amazing. The Wolverine Origins, the first part of it, the first edition or whatever, it is so good. I think it's one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. It is so good. I bought that for a buddy of mine when he picked me up from Utah. I was there for orientation. Anyway, so I gave it to him as a gift, and I was like, here, man, here's one of the greatest graphic novels I ever read. It was really that good. And they took elements of that in Origins, and they just knocked it up. It wasn't that good. Number 1, movie, Oblivion. Hands down. I have not seen a movie better than this entire year. I bought it on Blu-ray. I watched it again on Blu-ray. That whole concept of a soul and love beyond time and beyond death, the theme of that in a sci-fi world that was so cool and so well acted. Tom Cruise, when he's on the Empire State Building, the remnants of it, and he's asking you, there's something you're not telling me. Who are you? Who are you? And she says, I'm your wife. I was like, what? Jackpot. if
Right.
Olga Kurylenko, if she showed up and said that, dude, awesome. But seriously, guys, best movie of 2013, hands down so far, is Oblivion.
I think it was underrated.
Oh, yeah. It's so good. It's made by Joseph Kosinski, the same guy that made Tron Legacy, which is one of my favorite films of all time. Also the same guy that did the trailers for Gears of War, which if you don't remember those, go back on YouTube and watch them because that got people so hyped for that game. Joseph Kosinski's made 2 feature films, Tron Legacy and now Oblivion. Now he's working on Tron 3. And man, that Olivia Wilde will be so sad when she gets married to the guy from SNL. But it's okay. Jason Sudeikis, he's a good guy. He's got my blessing. I'll be at the wedding. It's all fine. All right. So that does it for movies, guys. Television shows. Real quickly, I want to jump on this Duckbill. Walking Dead, the season 3 finale was disastrous. It was a piece of crap, except for one thing. Except for Carl shooting that guy. And Carl telling his dad, you got to kill the bad guys, Dad. You didn't kill this person, and Mom died. You didn't kill this person, and this happened. You didn't kill this person, and this happened. You got to kill the bad guys, or good people are going to suffer.
That's right.
So the whole Korean War was all about, man. So
It was I don't know. I don't know. I haven't liked this season at all.
I haven't watched any of it. I haven't watched any Walking Dead this season. What I have watched is Mad Men, which is awesome. Just watch that show. Other shows, I watched Sherlock Holmes, the Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman one, but that's from 2010. I watched that on an airplane. I can't think of any other television shows, man.
That's right. I got you covered.
All right.
Number 6 is like a sort of a brief mention, an honorable mention. Girls. I thought I wasn't gonna like it. A couple of my friends.
So you could tell what my face was doing when you said that. I was like, really?
Well, it's actually like the thing is, right? Along with superhero movies, I also don't really like comedy much.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit worried about this show because I thought it was going to be too much of comedy for me. And it's actually not. It's very clever, witty, quirky sort of comedy, which is actually, for me, it's okay. And yeah, Girls was really good. Go and check it out. It was really cool. Allison Williams, oh my God. Number 5, which technically this is why I had Girls in there as a cover for this, because I've only actually watched one episode yesterday. This morning. Orange is the New Black. Really cool.
Okay.
Again, another kind of slightly quirky so far, but I really appreciate that Kate Mulgrew is in it, who is Captain Janeway in Star Trek Voyager, and I think she's awesome. Number 4, I don't know how you forgot about this one, Game of Thrones. Jeez.
Yeah, that sucked too.
Game of Thrones.
The Red Wedding was great, but the finale was.
I thought the last half of the season was very good.
Mm-hmm. Jamie Lannister was great. That was to me the thread.
Yeah, the only problem that I had was with the ending purely because of. I suppose it can't really spoil the next season, but
there's a couple things that I really look forward to. You know,
the things that are going to happen in the first season next year when it starts up. In the books, they're also very closely intertwined. For me, it felt like a really bad idea to split them all up.
Yep.
Obviously, the problem comes from the fact that you got to have a mid-season break. You got to have a season break somewhere, right? And I can understand that, but it just sort of felt like some of the things that happen should have been at the end of a season, not at the start. But we'll see how it goes. I could be wrong. Depending on how they do it, I could be completely wrong. But we'll see what happens. Of course, HBO are pretty good at making shows. I mean, most of their shows are freaking awesome.
I'm gonna jump on Deva's point real quick here, saying Red Wedding should have been the finale. That is a good point, Deva, but you have a problem there where the executives said, okay, if we do the Red Wedding, the most impactful thing that's going to happen this season, people will leave the show. They will not come back to watch the next season because you ended on such a graphic murder of so many people. They're like, well, the show's over. There's nothing more to watch. That's what will go through their minds, and they won't come back.
You end on a point where, let's say you have a 6-month break on a point where key characters have died, a huge shift in the power of the realm has occurred. All this sort of stuff. It's not the best place to leave, but you certainly could have done it there. But yeah, I agree with what they did. You shouldn't have done it there. Not to mention, just by the way, I've completely forgotten her name, but the actress who was oh my God, I've forgotten her name. Oh, Catelyn Stark. She did a really good job in that scene. However, I think it could have been better. Do you remember in the books that particular section where
Hold on. Charles Dance to voice pivotal character in The Witcher 3. Charles Dance is the one he's the father of the Lannisters.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. All right, sorry to interrupt. Thanks.
No, that's all right.
Thanks for that.
Just also, Charles Dance has been amazing in this show. His acidic delivery of certain lines in the show, particularly the one where he told Cersei, "You're not as smart as you think you are." When he said that, it was like, oh, Don't go to girlfriend. Um, but sorry, yeah, the Catelyn Stark scene where she gets killed at the Red Wedding, that I feel that could have had a little bit more power in it if they'd have included the visions and stuff that she was having. If you remember from the book, you remember that book, Joe?
I haven't read the books, friend. I just read all the stuff on the
Oh,
wikis.
all right.
I don't get time to read the
Okay.
books, so I just read all the wiki stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, no, that's all right.
sorry, buddy.
But anyway, that could have been. I figure that could have been a little bit better. Number three, as we sort of just quickly move on, Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad had a very satisfactory ending.
I loved El Paso. That was just really good adding that in. That was a brilliant song. And if you haven't seen it, go on YouTube, El Paso Breaking Bad, and watch how they mix up the song El Paso, which has been around for a long, long time, with what happens in the story from Breaking Bad. It's really intriguing to see how that happened. But yeah, Breaking Bad, fantastic. It took me a long time to catch up with Breaking Bad, but I basically watched the entire seasons, every single season this year, obviously including the last one. Number two, a little bit of America, House of Cards.
Yes! Yes, that show was so good. That's actually my number one show. But yeah.
Kevin Spacey. I have always loved Kevin Spacey. I thought, despite the actual movie itself was kind of boring, The Negotiator, he was in that, and he did really well in that. He was also in a movie called The Ref, which was really funny. But Kevin Spacey in House of Cards has been amazing. I can't wait till the next season of that, and I don't know when it is, but I hope it's really soon, because that show's really cool. That sort of the political and the manipulative side of that show is just awesome. And my number one for this year, especially given the recent ending to the season this year, Sons of Anarchy.
You are a fan of this show.
I am a massive fan, especially one particular facet that I thought of that makes this show brilliant. A lot of the time in many TV shows, there'll be a couple of seasons where you think, yeah, this season wasn't really that great compared to a couple of other seasons, right? Or unless you're The Simpsons, and in which case there's about 15 seasons.
Simpsons did it.
And season 3 of Sons of Anarchy was a little bit wonky, but every other season is brilliant. The latest episodes for season 6, which just came out obviously a couple of weeks back, incredible. There is a particular scene, I don't want to spoil it because it's a little more recent than some of the other stuff we've been talking about, but if you haven't seen it, go and see Sons of Anarchy. But in one of the latter scenes in the last episode, the finale, I saw what was coming, and I was actually sitting here. I was sitting right here because I was sitting up. Normally, I just sort of lay there and watch my shows and my movies, right? And I was like, I sat up. I was sitting here like this. Oh no! Oh no! Oh! I sat there for 5 minutes until the particular event occurred, and I was sitting there like this. It's very difficult for shows and movies to make me do that, but holy crap, Sons of Anarchy. Incredible stuff.
Cool, man. Cool. Wow, it's crazy.
Shout out to Zoe, by the way. My lovely Zoe. I don't know if she's still watching, but she's at work, but still.
Hi, Zoe! Cool. I have not really watched Sons of Anarchy. My dad watches it on Netflix. I think my mom does too. House of Cards was my favorite show this year. That was so well done. And all released at once. Arrested Development was a hit and miss. It was a miss for the first couple episodes, and then it really started to hit its stride later on, so that was fun. This was the year of Netflix, man. It really was. They took a chance doing this, and they're doing great. Now they're going to do the prequel to Breaking Bad. They're doing Better Call Saul. So Netflix is going to do that. Which, I mean, I'm all for some more Bob Odenkirk and more Saul. I'd rather have it after the fact, like have them be in a new town and you know, after Breaking Bad, not before it. Yeah, so good year for Netflix, man. And they say that that we're in another golden age of television. Well, it's really because of the accessibility of Netflix has made a lot of the stuff happen and popular,
Definitely.
like Breaking Bad.
Definitely. I mean, the power of that, we don't necessarily have as much of that here in Australia just due to the internet issues. But
Yeah,
um, that I can totally agree. That model is something that the big production companies and the big, the areas of, obviously, particularly in America, where, the people are still, they're still a little bit ways back in like the 1990s, where they think, wow, we better sell all the DVDs and the Blu-rays, right? Well, no, if you actually use a proper digital distribution platform, people will buy them. I have a friend who basically used to never buy games. He would pirate every single thing, right? And upon Steam, he's bought a lot of stuff. There's indie games developers which do a lot of stuff through purely through digital, and never will sell a box of a game. Same thing goes for TV, and I totally agree. I think just due to the accessibility of what's going on with Netflix and some of the other products that you guys have for that kind of stuff, it's really good. And this year has just been really good for TV shows. Like some of the ones I mentioned, that's only like 6 or 7 shows that we've both mentioned. If there's still probably 5, 6 others from some other genres that haven't been mentioned. Like I could mention Arrested Development came back. Modern Family was pretty big as well. There's some other sort of other shows that were on that have just been really good, and yeah, I think TV has been really good this year.
there's 2 shows that Netflix needs to add, and then it'll be all over. Those 2 shows are The Wonder Years, which are really really good, Winnie for sure, and number 2 is Are You Afraid of the Dark? Tell you what, man, if they throw Are You Afraid of the Dark up there, I'm gonna have a Snick night. And that's what we call that was Saturday Night Nickelodeon. They call it Snick. They had a bunch of different shows, and the last show of their lineup, it's like a 2-hour lineup, was Are You Afraid of the Dark? I would watch that almost every single Saturday, dude. It was like all that, Keenan and Kel, one cartoon or some other show, and then it would end with Are You Afraid of the Dark? And at 10 o'clock, and after it was over, 6, 7, 8 years old, 10 o'clock, whoa, it's late, oh my gosh, Mountain Dew. It's not. It was nuts. But I wish they'd have those shows on there, because if they did, I would watch the marathon out of that. I thought South Park was really good again this year. I thought their latest episodes about Black Friday and the console war was funny. It's really, really funny, especially at the end. Especially at the end of the console war thing. Because I don't want to ruin it, because it just makes it so funny. Oh, yeah, they did have Hey Arnold on there, Trump and M. Cole. I do remember some of that Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold was a good show as well. There is a website that streams illegally all of the Nicktoons that you can watch, man. They had Rocko's Modern Life, Doug. It was Doug, Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy all premiered on Nickelodeon at the same time. It was a 3-block lineup. Then after that, you had Rocko's Modern Life, Hey Arnold, All Real Monsters, Kablow. Was not really a Nicktoon. It was a bunch of cartoons put together, but that was really funny. Especially the Prometheus and Bob tapes, where this alien teaches a caveman all those different things, and the caveman screws it up. Yeah, so I really wish they'd bring that to Netflix, because that's a lot of childhood memories. The guy that did Rocko's Modern Life had a AMA on Reddit the other day. That was
Okay.
It's kind of creepy to go into his mind a little bit, and you see these different episode parts, and you're like, wow, that was really sexual. Kids never got it. Crazy. How you doing on time, Duckville? You got to be anywhere? Or you want to?
No,
all right.
no, I'm
all right.
good.
All right, guys. We're going to take another commercial break. Then we're going to talk about games we haven't played yet, disappointments of the year, then on to esports. So thanks so much for tuning in. Shifting Gears continues after this. All right, welcome back to Shifting Gears. We're jumping into our third and final part of the episode. We're talking about stuff that we didn't really like this year, some disappointment, some things we still would like to see. I want to definitely see The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. It's coming around the corner. I want to see 47 Ronin. It's a movie being released same time on Christmas Day. So we'll go see some movies on Christmas. All right, so games people should play before they move on to the next generation of consoles. Duckville, you're not a console player, so it's okay. I'm currently playing Lost Odyssey. This is made by the same guy that made the original Final Fantasies, and he also brought on his friend, I can't remember his first name now, but Uematsu, the guy who did the music for most of the Final Fantasies. He's on board. And it's pretty good. It's got a pretty good story that's unraveling itself. Dialogue's kind of some of it's very, oh my gosh, tear-inducing, and some of it's like, that was really cheesy. So it's pretty good. It reminds me of, I think, quality-wise, about a Final Fantasy IX. So it's definitely enjoyable, but it's not the best Japanese RPG. But a lot of it's like, oh, Final Fantasy 13, why weren't you more of this kind of thing? So I'm on disc number 3, so hopefully I can beat it tonight. The next one I have after that's The Last Story, which is made by the same guys. Uematsu Uematsu, that's his first name, did the music for that, along with the head story guy for Final Fantasy. But that's on the Wii, and I got that. But I don't know if I'm going to play that or Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD after I beat Lost Odyssey. I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game, ever. So I really want to check it out. I also bought Ni no Kuni for the PS3, which I heard was really, really good. And then Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, which was actually Total Biscuit's #1 pick for games for 2013, which turned a lot of people's heads. But I bought that on the Steam sale. I just bought another game right before we went to break. It's called Brutal Legend with Jack Black. I never got to play that one. So they have it on sale for $1.99. $1.99. I decided to buy it with the soundtrack, which cost me $2.49. People are losing their minds how easy it is to get these games. All right, so the best games so far on Steam, and I want you in chat to list which games on sale right now on Steam you would like a copy of, because I'm feeling generous. I'll give one out to somebody. Just go ahead and mention it on the chat. Best games that I bought on the Steam sale that I haven't even played yet: XCOM. I got Enemy Within and Enemy Unknown. Dota 2 is officially out, so play that. You don't have to buy it. It's free to play. What other games have you purchased, man? I bought Fez. I just bought Brutal Legend. Witcher 2 is still on sale for 75% off. I mean, if you guys haven't played Witcher 2, I will buy you, one person here, a copy. Gosh, what else? What else did I buy? I didn't buy Starbound. I already have CS:GO. A lot of them I already had. Max Payne 3. It was okay. Max Payne 3 was all right. So, what about you? Have you bought any games, Duckville?
I got Dive Kick, which I heard is pretty fun little, kind of like a fighting game. I got Mirror's Edge, purely, it's actually for my brother for Christmas. Knights of the Old Republic 2 was on sale as well, which I also got for my brother.
Yeah, it's not as good as the first one.
Yeah, still, he's a big Star Wars fan, and he wouldn't have played it. Not to mention my dad's PC is really bad, so that's why I'm getting it for my brother. I got The Pit, which looked interesting. What else? That's actually about it for now. I was gifted FTL by my awesome admin, Nostalgia. So I'm going to give that a shot soon. Apparently there's a StarCraft 2 mod for FTL where you get to use StarCraft ships instead of the normal ships. So I'm going to have to try that.
Let me interrupt you real quick. Not a stalker for sure. Are you telling me you have not played Dragon Age Origins? It's going to take a while for him to respond.
I'm hoping that NS2 comes back on sale so some more people can pick up the game cheap.
Yeah. I wish I could look at the list of recent purchases. But
I always buy them. Just like a pro tip for everyone. When you buy things on the Steam sale, even if they are actually for you, buy them as a gift, and then drop it in your inventory, so that just in case you change your mind, or if you suddenly get filled up with work or with uni or school or whatever, so that you can possibly sell them or give them away.
All right, Not Stalker, for sure. I'm going to buy you the entire Dragon Age Origins and the DLC pack and the expansion. Go ahead and either send me a Twitch message with your email or put your Skype name in the Twitch. We're not going to let this travesty go on any longer. You've got to play Dragon Age Origins. Have you played it, Duckville?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyways, that's a good point, man. You drop it in your inventory, and you do what with it? You can trade it, right? No, you can't trade.
You can gift it to someone. You can obviously sort of sell them to people in a way through the gifting, or you can just use it again yourself. If like for me, I've had, just looking at my inventory right now, I have I have Farming Simulator and Payday 2. It's sitting there just because I haven't actually gotten around to playing them yet, but if I maybe don't want to, then I can give them away. So also, it's really good when there are like really cheap specials of really good games, so you can buy them and then just give them away later.
Sweet.
Yeah. But yeah, looks like we are going to get Not a Stalker for sure, a copy of all the Dragon Age stuff.
Yeah. Man. I'm just checking the chat. So, there's also Dark Souls I haven't played Dark Souls. Should I play Dark Souls, guys?
It's pretty good.
Yeah? Should I buy it for $10.19?
I don't know. I'd go with the newer one, but obviously it's not on special, but I thought the newer one was better. D3 Deva, Duck, what game do you want to buy cheap? Natural Selection 2. If it does come on sale, everyone should go and grab a copy if you don't have it already. Yeah. So at the moment, flash sales are Dead Space 2, which is pretty
Natural
good.
Selection 2 right now is $6.24, guys.
There you go.
It's on sale. Deluxe edition is $10.
The deluxe edition isn't really worth it, but
Oh.
don't worry about it. Yeah, but grab NS2 if it's there, and it's a pretty fun game. But yeah, so there's some really good stuff here in the sale. It's always good to have those Steam sales. Everyone's wallet gets a little bit scared.
It is scary. It is scary. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I get this guy's information on messages here, so I can send him.
And what else?
Yeah.
I really like the community choice thing. Just for anyone wondering, if you haven't played Chivalry, I can almost guarantee you the next community choice winner will be Chivalry, and that'll be on sale for $6.25, which is a freaking awesome game. If you can get the DLC called Deadliest Warrior, that is also a lot of fun. You get to play as like Spartans, ninjas, pirates, knights, and all that kind of stuff, and it's basically like a cooler version of PvK, if anyone played Pirates, Vikings, and Knights. So grab that once it comes up on the community choice sale.
Not a stalker for sure. You need to send me your info either in chat or send it to me in a Twitch message, and I'll take care of that. Okay, let's get back to our list. So there goes the Steam giveaway. Maybe I'm feeling generous. Maybe we'll give something out a little bit later at the end of the show. We're getting close though. So disappointments. Dead Space 3. Disappointing. Bad ending. Terrible ending. The co-op was really cool, but yeah. SimCity.
Oh God.
It
was so bad I forgot about
Yeah. Servers and other things. Yeah. Had a great soundtrack though, which you can get on Spotify. Resident Evil 6, which looked like a giraffe was getting blown by a chick in the title. That I played through 3 campaigns of it, and I had to stop. It was emotionally painful for me to keep going. The Walking Dead season end, where you talked about that. Shoot Mania.
That was really there again, it's a very niche kind of little thing, but there are still some things going on with Shoot Mania, but I'm really disappointed that it didn't become what it was originally going to be, or at least planning on being.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. All right, hold on. I got to gift this game.
Yeah, I can talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about it and some of your disappointments.
Yeah, Shoot Mania, it was really fun. As I said, I'm generally pretty bad at first-person shooter games, but that one, it was a bit of fun. There was some little quirky things, like standing on the pad to get a railgun instead of actually getting a railgun. All the jump pads and all that kind of stuff. It really was like a nice ode to Quake in a way, but for me personally, obviously it's more of a geographical issue. Why the game just sort of fell apart was because, again, we have very small community bases for various things here, and Shoot Mania, I don't know what happened. It's just a general thing with FPS down here. There isn't a huge uptake on FPS games unless it's like CSGO or, you know, COD or something like that. But yeah, a lot of the, from what I understand, if there's, I don't know, if there's more Australian players out there who play Shoot Mania, then sure, give me a buzz. But yeah, it sort of just disappeared. But other disappointments for me, I thought Mr. Pandaria, was that this year? I think it was this year.
Was it?
Last year?
Well,
I'm gonna just pretend it's this year anyway.
Okay.
Even if it wasn't, because I played it this year. I thought that was really. I thought the story was a bit odd. I'm a little bit more of a rating sort of, I guess, purist, if you want to use that word. I thought it was kind of hilarious that you can basically get such what we used to call in BC like welfare epics so easily. And I thought the pet battling thing was just really weird. But it's sort of, you know, just Blizzard catering more to casual gaming in a way with that sort of stuff. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't know. One thing, X Rebirth, I was really hyped for that. That looked like a lot of fun. And then the game comes out and it's just a pile of bugs. I don't know if it has been fixed up by now, but it's yeah, I don't know. When I originally tried it, it was terrible.
Bummer. Okay. Right. Not a stalker for sure. You now have Dragon Age Origins expansion pack Awakening, and all the DLC. This is a dark fantasy story. It is one of the masterpieces that came out of BioWare before they took a nosedive off the suck tree and hit every branch on the way down. And play through it twice, because I think you'll just enjoy so much of the character interactions, and also you can have sex with Morgan, and who doesn't want to have that? Okay, so let's other disappointments. I thought Grand Theft Auto 5 was a good game, but the storyline was so long in Act 2, and it just became so much of a parody, a gross parody of America. And I don't mean like America, I just mean the social interaction of people and families in America right now, that it started to just kind of wane heavy on me. Like, man, it's like people talking about BJs on the street and all this other stuff, and you kind of just get lost in the crime world, and you just start feeling dirty, especially with frickin' Trevor, man. That guy was crazy. So the story got weird in Grand Theft Auto 5. I didn't really play the online portion of it because some people were going to play online, but didn't really get into it. I wanted to play with them, and they invited me, but they said I didn't do the tutorial yet for Grand Theft Auto 5 online. It's like, well, how hard is the tutorial? Like, jump in a car and I shoot stuff. All right. So another disappointment was After Earth, which is a film with Jaden Smith and Will Smith. That got weird.
Oh. God, yeah, that's horrible.
It got weird. I liked the ship design of how like they could seal it off, almost like you seal off a wound. So I liked some of the design of it being kind of bioorganic technology, but other than that, it was yeah.
It was a movie about what happens in the Smith household. That was basically it.
If you have fear, you get killed by an alien.
And that too.
Yeah. And The Lone Ranger, I enjoyed a lot watching it. It was a little bit too long, and the Lone Ranger guy he was kind of a dick. He's like, no, we don't kill anybody. I was like, dude, just grow up, please. Nobody makes these stories of not killing anyone anymore. Batman kills people now, okay? Yeah. So that's why people were kind of whatever with it. Johnny Depp, he played a kooky character, which he's good at, but it was the horse that was the best part of it. All right, so you're probably asking yourself, hey guys, why haven't you talked about Beyond Two Souls, Assassin's Creed, Battlefield 4, Call of Duty Ghosts, Metro Last Light, Frozen? I haven't seen Frozen yet, or the movie Her. Haven't seen those yet. World of Warplanes, if you haven't played, that just got released in November. It's a lot of fun. Make sure to check that out. And you start unlocking planes pretty fast. I just haven't played any of those games. I think Call of Duty Ghosts will be the first Call of Duty I don't play. It just doesn't look intriguing to me at all. Metro Last Light, maybe down the road when it's on sale. The first Metro was all right, 2033. Battlefield 4, no time. Plus, it's been so buggy I've heard that I'll just wait. And then Beyond Two Souls, again, no time. I have a list, just a long list of games. I heard like Xenoblade Chronicles is on that list, and I went to GameStop. They had one copy, and it was $60. This is a game for the Wii. Still $60 because it's rare. But yeah, that's it, man. Anything else before we jump at our final topic, esports?
No, that's pretty much it, I guess. There's probably other stuff that we've forgotten. But
yeah, can't do it all, guys. It's crazy. You remember what? 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we all got the same game. We all played it together, and we played it for months and months and months together. And then another game would come out around the holidays, and then our parents would buy it. That's what it was 10 years ago, man. Yeah. Or even before that. Oh, I was 17 10 years ago. But now I don't know. It's almost like there's too much. Okay, so esports 2013. What improved? What got worse? Improvement, production technology. Some of the pacing of the shows got better. What got worse? Korea got boned for a while, which really sucked. But hopefully they'll be back in 2014. And I want to make a comment on hosting. And this goes to translating. The translator on the stage or for any production is the mouthpiece of the player. And the translator should not be a host at the same time on the stage. One, it's super awkward when you're like, all right, now Chobra and Sue, they do good jobs for being involved in this scenario for a while. But they should be getting paid double, which I'm pretty sure they're not, which is bad for everyone, and it's bad for them as well if they're not getting paid double for being a host and a translator on the stage or fulfilling two roles. But it's actually kind of sad, because when I show esports stuff to Hollywood people and they see that, they laugh and they go, wow, that's so amateur. Who makes those kind of decisions? And I explain to them, well, budgets. And I'm like, well, it would look better if they don't do any interviews at all if they can't get a translator and a host, because it's not how you do it in Hollywood. That's not how you do it in production in general. The host is a separate entity from the player. When a host asks a question or is presenting something, the player is represented by that translator. You can't have both. So that's my comment on that. Hopefully DreamHack and other organizations, if they do have Sue be a translator and a host, and she gets paid double. And if she doesn't, then that is wrong. That is wrong. That is wrong. That is wrong. And I will publicly ask you, are you doing that? And then like, it's none of your business. Then if we can't have industry standards in this business, everybody loses. Everybody loses. Everybody loses. So yeah. That's how I feel about that. But that was one of the biggest things in esports I saw. It was really like, come on, guys. We should be way past this. Top performer. Before we get into that, Duckbill, anything else you'd like to say on improvements and what got worse?
No, I agree with production, definitely. Slowly got better throughout the year. We sort of learned, particularly as you mentioned, pacing was a particular thing that people started to do a lot better as the year went through.
Hold on one second. I want to respond. Guitar friend, that doesn't make any sense. You don't cut a step. The person is there and they go, hey, I'm going to ask this in English. Then they translate it, and then the person answers it in their language.
Exactly.
and then it's not faster at all. It's the same pace. Oh my gosh. All right, Duck, go ahead.
The same words are being said effectively.
Yeah.
Like the same total of words is being said, because you can't have a translator there just translate to the player and then have the player say something and then that's done. Like that, there's no step cutting, and you have people such as Clutch and Red Eye and some of the other guys who do this sort of stuff, and they have particular obviously charismatic qualities, particular as you would know, Josh, and as I have slowly been learning as well, obviously doing my own streaming, you have to have certain flows to the way you do stuff, to intros, to outros, to introducing players, and particularly obviously on the casting side of it for me, introducing games, introducing sort of displaying the status of what a game is up to. Like, we're at game number 5 here in this best of 7, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes the translators, if they're translating to the player, listening to the player, translating that in their head back to English, telling you what they've said, keeping things correct as to what they've said. There have been a couple of times this year, not going to name any names, where from what I've been told by some people who are very fluent in Korean, that things were not exactly as the player said. And you see it sometimes on Twitter. Some of the people who do know Korean on Twitter will sometimes be watching things and say, well, he also said this, but it wasn't mentioned. And I mean, that's just part of, being a double role there, is that you may mess up, and it's just a human thing, but it doesn't have to happen.
No.
If you have a host there, if this guy is sitting here on the side and then doing the actual intros of a player, asking the questions, then it's fine for the translator to fully concentrate on what their job is. So, but as I was saying, another thing that I was really happy with was that Blizzard, in particular, slowly dealt with some of the glaring issues in WCS. Obviously, as we're moving forward, there still may be some, but hopefully next year we'll actually get some of those fixed up. Overall in esports, was really impressed with the rise of some of the, as I said, with CSGO, was really happy with that. And also the innovation and the ingenuity and the implementation, lots of eyes there, with Dota 2, and generally Valve's encompassing CSGO and Dota 2 was integration with Twitch, in-game viewing of content, drops in-game. The ticketing system in Dota is just a brilliant idea. All these kinds of things that have come through and are just great for esports, that have really, really shone this year.
No, I agree. It's gotten better and better with those particular productions. And Valve, what I like Valve's approach is, if we do one event, we're going to do one event a year. We'll make it the Super Bowl. And there was a couple scheduling issues that were going on with some of our World of Tanks finals, and one of them was going to be the same weekend as Dota 2. TI, and I was telling them, you cannot do this. You cannot do this. And they're like, well, the audience that plays World of Tanks doesn't play Dota. I said, that doesn't matter. That does not matter. Do you have the Super Bowl the same weekend as the World Series? No, because you're not retarded.
And remember, the same thing happened with WCS. And while it was really funny when I was reading some of the comments about, oh, well, everyone cried about how there'd be no viewers at the same time as TI3, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, yeah, if I remember correctly, at that time, WCS got to around about 200,000 viewers, which for a StarCraft thing, pretty damn good. Yeah. But the point remains that what if TI3 wasn't on that weekend? Would it have gone to 300? Would it have gone to 400? Heck, 500,000. Would we have gotten to a magical mark like that, which StarCraft 2 has never gotten to?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's a sense of self-respect when you do this planning. And MLG did that. They said, well, if Red Bull's doing a StarCraft event, why try to fight it? We're going to do Dota and we're going to do Call of Duty. And I thought that was a smart plan. Some people were a little upset because people like being upset about anything. And as keyboard cowboys, they can say anything they want by just clicking a couple buttons. And there's no repercussion because they hide behind some little name on Reddit. But for us, we have to be very private about our dealings because it's business for us. But when this was on the calendar, it wasn't a different audience thing. It It was the respect of being in the scene thing. It was, hey, if you guys are doing your 1-year event that weekend, we're not going to host ours on the same weekend because it just makes sense. And so thankfully it was changed. But that was a big thing. And one person's like, well, you just want to go to TI3. It's like, I would like to go, but that's not the case. This isn't about me. This is about you. This is about you entering into the world of esports and people taking you seriously. And if you think that you can schedule on the same weekend as the International 3, which 3 years in a row, one had the biggest prize pool in esports history from this generation, past 2010. Year 2, even better. And now year 3, and you want to go up against that? That does not make sense, and you are making a huge mistake. And they changed it.
It's good. Sorry, just again,
That's right.
kind of refining. Just the particular, I know that Blizzard did have scheduling issues just due to the very rushed nature of WCS this year, but at what point did they not know that TI3 was going to be on around about that time? It's always on at the past 3 years, basically always on at the same time.
Well, it's sometime around PAX East. I mean, this year PAX Prime. This year it wasn't the same weekend as PAX Prime. It was a different weekend. So the last two, I think it was the same weekend.
Just slightly.
So around those areas, yeah.
Generally the same sort of time, the end of August to start of September. I mean, and surely, they call me crazy, but surely someone has Gaben's number and could have said, "Yo, what day is TI3 is?"
Well, this is the whole reason why basketball, football, and baseball they're at different times throughout the year. Soccer and hockey and whatnot is you have basketball in the winter, you have baseball in the spring, summer, and then you have football from late summer, fall to winter. And it's so people that are fans of all can watch it. Do you think that esports will come to that, where StarCraft is winter, MOBAs are in spring, and then in the fall we have shooters?
I can only dream that one day we would be that coordinated, but we'll have to see.
We have to have. You know what it comes down to? It's not the leagues themselves. It's the broadcast. It's the networks that form that. It's the ABCs, the CBS. And maybe Twitch will fill that role. Like, hey, we want you guys to start following these seasons so that we can maximize profits everywhere.
Yep.
People need to understand that television broadcasting was so integrated into sports and how it became what it is today. It wasn't the other way around. You know, timeouts in football only started happening because of television commercials. I'm talking about American football. All right, so top performer. People mentioned Jaedong. I have to say Polt and Jaedong. They're tied for me. They performed very well in StarCraft. For Dota, dude, I got to say, Speed Gaming, man, that story with them, with MLG, oh my gosh. They just came back from Korea. 2, one of their guys can't play because he is starting school and visa issues or something like that. So they get another guy that just left the team because he's going to focus on school. Then their whole team crumbles while they're at the event, and they go on and they win it. The whole thing. Over everyone. Amazing. So for me, this is top performance.
Something that's very rare in the way we do StarCraft production at the moment. But,
yeah, and that was my job as a host to keep building that up, you know.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And it was great.
And you did a great job with that. I was really impressed with MLG overall, and that you were able to continue on with that kind of stuff. So that was really cool. For me, Alliance this year, as a team, firstly for Dota, and then also as a team generally. I know that not everyone likes Naniwa, but he's, as a guy who you either love or you love to hate, he does it brilliantly. Whether he's serious, whether he's not serious, he does a brilliant job of that. So Alliance overall, as a team, have been really sort of a top performer for me. And as a particular player, Scarlet, the girl's incredible. Not only just a quality player, but a great role model in a way for just digging in and saying, you know what, I'm going to practice hard. I'm going to play this freaking game. Go to Korea, practice over there. Smash some Koreans, smash some foreigners constantly, and just play the game. And I think she does just a brilliant job with that.
And she does. And she is really coming to her own media-wise, too. She was so shy of the camera back in 2012, and now she's doing a lot better.
I remember IPL when she first started up. She was like barely saying a word, and you know it's understandable. People get shy and all those kinds of things.
Well, and the nature of her background too, and the openness of the internet, I can see why I would not want to be on camera at all.
Yeah.
At the beginning,
but, I mean now streaming, commentating while she's streaming. I sat there for like, she started streaming. When was it? Last week or the week before? And it was like 1 a.m. my time, and I was going to go to bed. And she started streaming. I sat there. I was like, all right, I'll watch like half an hour. And then like 4 hours later, it's 5 a.m. or something like that, and she's still going. I was like, this is really good. She's like really interesting streaming. So it was pretty cool stuff. But yeah.
That's cool, man. And really, really good years for her and for a lot of the players. Even though WCS was tough on everyone. It was tough on everyone, so hopefully it'll be better in 2014. Best event overall. You can have a couple that are tied, or top 3 events this year.
I have two that are tied. One is for StarCraft, DreamHack Summer. I had a huge amount of fun commentating that. And also just a shout out to the guys who are organizing DreamHack and the community streams. They did a really good job. Dennis was really awesome. And then DreamHack Winter was good, not just because of SC2, but also, as I said, that was the time when I started watching the CS:GO, and I was like, this is actually really cool to watch. And and when you have people like Consider It Done, and obviously the panel that they had with Scoots and the crazy. The Swedish dude, I can't remember his name, who couldn't get the name of the team right. It was really good stuff to watch. But other than that, of course, I got to throw in TI3 as well, which is constantly an amazing event, and I am hoping, fingers crossed, to get to TI4 this year. Oh, sorry, next year.
Yeah, well, I couldn't watch much of International because I was hosting WCS. Heard it was really good. Top events for me, Toronto. Toronto had a bigger and better crowd than BlizzCon. It did, but
I forgot about that. But
yeah, really the reasoning is, guys, it's nothing to fault BlizzCon, but BlizzCon is not a WCS only event. There's so many things going on there, and most people there are there for a lot of different stuff that they want to see. So, be that as it may, Toronto was the best StarCraft 2 crowd all year, in my opinion. And I think they will be continually when we go back. Other event, MLG Dota, because that was the first time they were doing it. We had a good turnout, a lot of fun. I had a great time in Columbus. I have a lot of very memorable things happen to me at that event, and I got a lot of great compliments. And we worked really well as a team. Zyori, Mott, and the Beyond the Gaming guys, we all came together. We were there to put on a good show. The games got long. We were going crazy in Clutch's Corner. That's what we called it, my couch there. And we had a lot of fun. We were all just out of it, just because the games were going on for so long. We were trying to stay energized, and we were making jokes and going crazy. And I want to send a huge thanks to those guys. And also Jessica Brohard, she's a sweetheart. And we had a lot of fun watching Dota. So it was just a really, really good event, and I felt that it was nice to be back with MLG, even though there's a lot of just crazy stuff that just happened with them. And hopefully they're on the up and up, man. Just hopefully. And it's just tough because, they build these games and then they drop them because of business. And it's hard because a lot of things are just centered around that being built, and maybe that's why Blizzard wanted to get more involved with WCS. So they didn't want to have a third party be the center of the esports community. They want to get involved. Pros and cons to that, definitely. So that was a really good event. And World of Tanks Season 2 Finals in Vegas. Those are my top 3. It was a lot of fun. We had a guy named Waffles who joined us that won the award ceremony of most charismatic player. The teams were great. The storylines were really good. There was a lot of really good matches, very close matches. Fulcrum did win again, But to be back in Vegas, oh man, I had so much fun in Vegas that time. I actually spent money that time, too much money. It was great. It was phenomenal. Special mention, WCS, because I got to see all my Korean friends again. Wolf, Doa, Monte Cristo. Sean Delaney came out, Forecourt Jester. Got to hang out with Wani, who made my dream come true of going to Korea. And that was a good event as well. So those are my top events for the year. And it was fun to co-host with Zoe. She's a good co-host. And Toronto got a little bit crazy because we were really busy with WCS and World of Tanks. Both productions going on for our production team. But we made it work. So, Doc, we're going to wrap the show. We already gave away my Steam game. Already gave away the Hearthstone key. So I'm going to ask you, my friend, what do you look forward to in 2014?
Can we go to the best game to watch just quickly? Because I had a couple of really good ones.
Oh, yeah. Sure, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, let's get that part. Best game to watch. Sorry. Best game to watch.
Best games to watch. I obviously have a couple given the work that I do. Number one, Stardust versus J-Dog on Star Station at DreamHack Summer. If everyone remembers the base race that happened there, it was incredible. Of course, we can't forget Scarlet versus Bomber at
Red Bull.
Red Bull. Sorry, yeah, that's where it was. I was like, where was that? Iron Squid? No. Bomber versus Gosu User. That ridiculously long game. That was a brilliant one to watch. Personally, as a caster, I have a couple, and I'm going to link them because they're actually available on my YouTube. So if you guys
have my permission to link.
If you guys want to add them to your watch queue and watch them later, they were some really good games. And as many people know who watch my casting, I really love long games. The first one was Pig versus Starman at DreamHack Summer on Akalon Waste. Incredible game. Really, really crazy what happens in that game. Number two is DreamHack VLC at Valencia. Ghost User versus Morrow. Now, I hadn't seen Morrow for a long time, and he came out with a really interesting style for TVZ that I hadn't really seen. I sort of, you get to see how it works, but it was an incredible game. And the third one was Moonglade versus Rossi at the C Championship Series, which is also just there. A really, really cool TVZ featuring some of the local guys down here who are some great quality players. So those are some of my best games. I know it is only StarCraft, but I couldn't think of Dota ones or anything like that off the top of my head. Obviously, there are lots, though.
Yes, yes. The series to watch is the finals for Dota for MLG. I really like that series, even though the games were long. There was so much at stake that made it so enthralling to find out what was going on. And
CI3 final was pretty good. The rise of Wisp and the battle between Alliance and what's the face? So, yeah.
Mouse Sports versus Na'Vi for the NVIDIA Cup of World of Tanks. When Mouse Sports took a game off them, everybody's like, what? So that was cool. And for a lot of the StarCraft stuff, I can't think of anything else besides what Duckville mentioned, you know.
Flash versus Innovation on Nuco Precinct was also pretty good. Yeah. That was on May 10th.
So SOS, a player I really don't know much about, is the best player in StarCraft 2 according to WCS. Wow, should be J-Dong next year. What? I gave it away. Time travel. Woo! All right, well, thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in to Shifting Gears. You can purchase shirts of Shifting Gears over at The Handsome Nerd. Please buy them because they go to support me. If you feel like donating something, I'll give a portion to Duckville as well because we have bills to pay, mouths to feed, such as this one. We always appreciate that, guys, because we're still trying to make our way in the world of esports. But you know, I've got a pretty good job. I'm just trying to pay off school debt before 30. That's my goal, and I got 2 years and change to have that happen. It's gonna be tough. But you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Clutch08. He's at Duckville LOL. Parting thoughts, Liam.
Next year should be really good. Can't wait for, J-Dong in particular should be shining, I really hope. Pro League looks freaking awesome. Can't wait for that. In the Dota 2 world, of course, really looking forwards to seeing some good local stuff here in C, but also just in general, of course, I'm still waiting for techies. If I don't get techies next year, I'm probably going to rage quit Dota because I'm sick of waiting. Natural Selection 2, as I said, if you are interested in Natural Selection, make sure you follow all of my stuff over on twitch.tv/DuckvilleWall, youtube.com/DuckvilleWall, and also follow me on Twitter as well, because I will be attempting to try and give some more attention to the Natural Selection 2 scene. As I said, the World Championship Series of Natural Selection 2 is going on currently and in January, and the final will be in Cologne in February next year, where people are being flown out. There's like stage and stuff like that, from what I understand, being set up. So it's not as if it's like something in someone's backyard where, 10 guys are turning up. It's a pretty big thing. For me personally as well, I am currently writing up a little bit of a review of some of my own sort of personal production kind of stuff. And I am going to be looking to do a bit more streaming, quite a lot more streaming. There'll be a lot more NS2, as I said, Dota 2. We'll still have StarCraft 2 as well. Just sort of branching out a little bit more to make sure there's lots of content available for you guys. So hopefully you can all follow next year. And also a quick shout out to my favorite music, content that I listen to these days, Mike Massey. You can find him on YouTube. He's got some awesome covers. Go and listen to that guy.
All right. Huge thank you to Duckville and everyone else that appeared on the show for this year. Shifting gears to 2014, probably won't be every week, guys, due to time, but we'll try to get in there when we can, and we'll have fun discussions. And we obviously went longer than an hour, which I was glad about because we had a lot to talk about. So check out the shirts, links there, and be sure to follow me on Twitter when I go live. After I'm done playing the console stuff, I might stream some stuff a little later, maybe after Christmas. But enjoy the holidays, guys. Get outside. Take a break from playing video games. Have fun with your family. Go do something fun with them. Make some memories together. That's what life's all about. And then come back, do some gardening, then come back, play video games, watch our streams so we get paid because we need money. All right? Cool. See you guys 2014. Thanks so much for watching. Good night. Good game.